addressing these issues now in a non-emotional time frame, that definitely gives a great sense of security and a peace of mind, not just to myself, but to other family members as well.
Here's what you're looking at when it comes to long-term care, which is the major issue. How is mom or dad going to be able to make it when they can't take care of themselves? They can't work anymore.
Right.
They can't take care of themselves.
Can you explain the consequences of either not having the correct power of attorney or having one that fails?
Sure.
What happens to, give us a scenario of what can happen when somebody's declared to be incapacitated or incompetent?
Well, let me start at this point, David, because that's why the timing of when they come to see an attorney is so important. Sometimes I will get people in and they still have the ability to understand what they're doing. They have the ability to make legal decisions.
Right.
So often, because of the procrastination, they don't come in until there's crisis, which means that mom or dad typically is questionable whether or not they can make legal decisions. So we want, for their benefit, for them to come in as soon as they can, as soon as possible, so that we can, for example, do a power of attorney that allows some things that a standard power of attorney would not allow. There are some people that get powers of attorney off the internet, or they may have an old power of attorney that they were able to receive from some years ago estate planning. Well, when we're talking about long-term care or nursing home or Medicaid, that sort of thing, in the preparation of it, we may be talking about transfers that under a normal power of attorney could not take place because typically the person that has that power of attorney, that is the fiduciary, does not have the authority. It's illegal to be transferring property to themselves. Maybe a little bit under a gift exclusion clause under the tax code, but even then, it's not enough to make a difference when we plan ahead.
What can somebody do once it's too late and they need to sell a house or close a checking account and either their power of attorney is not honored or it's just not effective? What can you do? Do you have to go to court?
David, a lot of times we can't do anything. Now, I will say this, that when it's past the time of capacity, what we may be left with is going to court for guardianship. And in one sense, there's two broad categories of guardianships. One is guardianship of the person. They can't take care of themselves. They can't make medical decisions. And the other is guardianship of the estate, and that's for the financial. But all of that could be avoided if they had come in earlier when they had the ability to make those decisions. What are the problems with guardianships? For one, they're very expensive. For another is there's always the question, and the court is very jealous of their personal rights. Do they really have incapacity? So an ad litem has to be appointed for them. And then the question comes up, and this is not uncommon, which of the children is going to represent mom or dad?
Right.
And see, if they came in earlier, one of the things that we do, the probate code allows it, is what's called a declaration of guardian. So they can declare to the court in writing the hierarchy or the order in which they would like for the kids, assuming that that's who it is, would represent them. Let's take a situation, David, where a widow, she has, let's say, $100,000 and a home worth $200,000.
Okay.
That's really not too uncommon. If she gets here early enough, which means that she has capacity to understand what she's doing, typically what we're going to do is that we're going to draft up a new power of attorney so that transfers can be made to those who are, for example, the agents. She has to have the ability to understand that. if done properly, we could do a gifting of most of that $100,000, then make an application for Medicaid, assuming that she's otherwise qualified.
I would not have done it without David's help or my son encouraging us. And I know it needed to be done, but I preferred to play the bird and bury my head in the sand. But it is a certain way, especially my age, to relax. So I think, well, that step is taken care of. There's many more steps we have to take, but that's one chapter that we finished, and with the help of David, it was very painless and very pleasant. And now we just have to deal with my husband's illness.